Okay, now let's learn a little bit about how to kind of make some finer tuning edits and things like that and really have some fun with this. Now, one thing I wanted to show you real quick, I'm going to go over to my preferences and we're going to go to audio hardware. In here, you can control kind of what your input is. So, if you're going to be recording right in Premiere, which you can do. So for your podcast piece, you can certainly do that there. You can choose whatever there, and then your output. Okay. So right now I'm just going to choose my MacBook Pro speakers and just hit yes, and that's totally fine. And it's pulling in my microphone from the MacBook there. But you can choose whatever you want there. It will not automatically change with whatever your system default is. So be aware of that. Now what I'm going to do is I want to start kind of editing and refining. There are a lot of things that we need to be very pay attention to as we edit, both with video and with audio. We'll get more into the video later, of course, but what I'm going to do is I want to show you a little bit about this audio and how to work with it. Over here on the side, you'll notice that this is kind of a scale, if you will. And where we want to make sure that we have kind of a uniform audio level so that it's not too soft and not too loud. I generally like to see my audio hitting, for the most part, about right here, around the 18 mark. If you're getting up into the red, it's going to be really, really, really loud when we export it. So 24 to 18 is a good range for most of your audio to land. Let's see where we're at. So I'm just going to hit spacebar. And you know what? That's pretty good. I can see that most of it is hitting kind of in the 18 to 24 range. There are spots that are less, there are spots that are more, but I can see that most of this is hitting just about right. Okay, now let's say that I've got a piece here that I need to fine tune just a little bit more, and I need to make it so that it is louder. Let's make this piece up here louder. So I'm going to double click on it, and I can see that it's popped up over here. I'm going to go to Effect Controls, and I can control several things now with my audio and things like that. Right here, my level is how soft and loud it is. If it's negative, well, that's turned down all the way, or I can bump it up. Okay, the maximum that you can bump up is to 15, but let's just turn this up just a little bit. Well, no, let's maximize. Let's go to maximum. Now you'll notice right here this little dot, and this is called a keyframe. And what it does is it starts out at 0 at the beginning of the clip, and then you'll see that as I scrub through this, well, in this case it stays at the 15, but I can drop a keyframe right here, bingo, and I can say at this point I want it to be 0. And I'm not really going to do this, I'm just showing you for the sake of it. So now as it plays, it starts out where it is and then really builds up and gets louder by the time it hits that second keyframe. I'm going to hit Command Z because I don't really want that to happen. I just want this to stay at 15 the entire time. And now let's play it down here and see. Okay, now do you see how that's bumping up really far and we're hitting the reds? That's not good. We definitely do not want that to happen. Okay, so I'm just going to Command Z a couple times because really we don't want any of that. My audio was actually just right. But I wanted to show you that so you can see how you adjust your audio. As I was working on a project the other day, I had like 15 different video clips, and I had to go through each individual one and set the audio level just right so that they all were level and they could all be heard in the end. All right, great. So now we've got some cool things happening here where we've got our, let's pretend this is all set up and all done. And again, if I wanted to zoom in a little bit, just move that over like that. And oh, I've got a bunch of extra stuff here at the front that I don't want, things like that. There are some additional things that you can work with under your effects. Okay, if you go under audio effects, you can see that there are a whole lot of different things. And I would encourage you to just kind of start looking through these and really kind of just get familiar with what's in there. There are things that you can do with if you have too much noise. Now, it's always good to start with the cleanest audio you possibly can. But you can start playing with some fun things here. Don't go too crazy with the special effects and with the echoes and things like that. That can really get dangerous there, but there are so many things that you can do here. You can even change, how the pitch on your voice and things like that. So there's a lot of cool stuff in here. So definitely, please look through this, get familiar with what's in these, and to use these is really pretty easy. If I want to, let's see. I don't even know what I want to use right now. But let's just grab one of these reverbs, and we're just going to drop it in right here. And it's that easy. And now I can see over here in my effects that the studio reverb is popping up, and then you can go in and you can hear the difference, and you can say, oh wow, this is cool. So anyway, there's a lot that you can do there. You can also come down to audio transitions, which allow you you know, if at the, I wouldn't use these on voices really, because we want them to continue. But like if this was a music track, you could just drag it down to the end, and it'll just fade it out at the end, and that can work really nicely. Now the question is too, oh, how do I add some music? Well, I'm going to go over to my audio bin. Nope, I'm going to go to my music bin, and let's say that I want to drag this clip down in here. Okay, and let's play this and see what happens. All right, so I've got this happening here where it's just, my first problem is that's just way too loud. So I'm going to double click on it. We're going to go to Effect Controls, and we're going to just bump this down. I'm going to guess that we're about -15. And I'm just going to come back over here now that we have that. Okay, so my overall audio is hitting about in here, which is just right. But my problem is, as I listen to that, the music is way powerful. It's way too powerful, and it's taking over my my audio here. And that needs to be the focal point, not the music. So what I want to do is, let's play with this a little bit. And remember those keyframes that we were kind of talking about? I'm going to click on that one and just delete it. And we're going to add a keyframe right here, and it's at -15. And then I want, let's see, so what I'm doing is checking to see where my my voiceover starts, about 2:05, about 2 seconds in. Okay, so now I'm going to scrub to that point right here, and I'm going to add another keyframe. And if this isn't, you know, if you need to kind of adjust that, you can zoom in just a little bit more. And I'm going to hit another keyframe, but this one I'm going to put down to -30. Remember, the negative turns it down. And so now what will happen, let's test this. Great. So that worked out really nicely. So what it did is it started out full sound, and then it went down and kind of turned itself down. And I could bring that in a little bit if I want a little bit, 1 second of full sound, and then it comes down, and then I start talking, and the audio is balanced. And that's what we're looking for, is to make sure that whatever we really need to hear can be heard. So now as I go through that again, I can hear. Great, that worked out really nicely. Okay, so those are just a few little tricks that I think will be helpful for you as you go through your project and start editing. So from here, go for it. And there are so many more things you can do. If you're having a hard time with something, feel free to just look it up on Google. You're going to find tons of videos on YouTube. You're also welcome to reach out to me and our peer assistants. If I wanted to add a voiceover right here, I'm actually about to record. This is the coolest thing ever. And done. And I now have that. This is the coolest thing ever. Bingo. All right. That wasn't very hard at all to add your audio. So many cool things you can do. So start playing with it, start getting familiar with it. And in my next video, I'm just going to show you quickly how to export.